Ravensbrook. A small town steeped in autumn hues and hushed whispers. It was the kind of place where secrets lingered like morning mist, and at the edge of town, shrouded by ancient oaks and a haunting reputation, stood Whispering Pines. The estate was a relic of a bygone era, its once grand facade now crumbling under the weight of time and tragedy. Locals spoke of the estate with a mix of fear and fascination. Whispering Pines had been home to Thomas Blackwood, a wealthy recluse who vanished without a trace over a century ago. Some whispered of foul play, others of a dark pact gone wrong, but the most persistent rumor spoke of a curse. Blackwood, they said, had delved into forbidden knowledge, and in doing so, had cursed the very ground upon which Whispering Pines stood. The estate had stood empty ever since, a testament to whatever darkness Blackwood had unleashed. Over the years, there had been stories. Strange lights flickering in the dead of night, unexplained noises that sent chills down the spines of those who dared venture too close. But the truth, like the shadows that stretched from the estate's decaying walls, remained elusive. Whispering Pines was more than just an abandoned house, it was a warning. A reminder that some doors are best left unopened, some secrets better left buried. But as Halloween approached, a group of college friends, blinded by youthful curiosity and a thirst for adventure, were about to discover that some legends are rooted in terrifying truth. It started, as these things often do, with a dare. A simple, seemingly harmless challenge that would set the stage for an unforgettable adventure. A group of friends, gathered around a flickering bonfire as the first leaves of autumn fell, felt the chill of the season and the thrill of the unknown. The challenge was thrown down with a mixture of bravado and nervous laughter, each friend trying to outdo the other in a show of courage. Ravensbrook and the legend of Whispering Pines had been a local legend since they were kids, whispered around campfires and during sleepovers. The tales of ghostly apparitions and eerie sounds had always sent shivers down their spines. There was Sarah, a history major with a thirst for knowledge and a fascination with the past. She had always been drawn to the mysteries of history, and Whispering Pines was no exception. She saw Whispering Pines as a puzzle box, its secrets waiting to be unlocked. The idea of uncovering the truth behind the legends was irresistible to her. Then there was Mike, the skeptic, the voice of reason in a group increasingly captivated by the supernatural. He was determined to prove that there was a logical explanation for everything. He saw the dare as an opportunity to debunk a local myth, to prove that logic and reason trumped superstition. Mike was confident that he could explain away any strange occurrences. Rounding out the group were Emily, the adventurous one, always up for a challenge, and Ben, the joker, masking his apprehension with humor. Ben's jokes kept the group's spirits high, even as they faced the daunting prospect of spending a night in a haunted house. It was Emily who first suggested they spend Halloween weekend at Whispering Pines. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and soon the others were on board. The dare was simple: spend the night in the house, if they dared. The idea was both thrilling and terrifying. The idea, ridiculous as it seemed in the cold light of day, took root in their imaginations. They couldn't resist the allure of the unknown. Fueled by adrenaline and youthful invincibility, they packed their bags and set off for Ravensbrook. The journey was filled with excited chatter and nervous anticipation. They arrived as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the overgrown lawn of Whispering Pines. The house looked even more ominous in the fading light. The air grew heavy with a palpable sense of dread as they stepped out of the car. The reality of their situation began to sink in. The old house loomed over them, its windows like vacant eyes watching their every move. The stories they had heard seemed all too real now. The dare had seemed like a good idea back in the safety of their dorm rooms. Now, faced with the imposing reality of Whispering Pines, doubt crept in like a creeping chill. They exchanged nervous glances, each wondering if they had made a mistake. But it was too late to turn back now. They had come this far, and there was no way they were going to back down from the challenge. With a deep breath and a final look at each other, they steeled themselves and stepped forward, ready to face whatever awaited them inside Whispering Pines. The door creaked open, revealing the dark and eerie interior of the house. The adventure had begun, and there was no turning back. As they ventured inside, shadows seemed to move in the corners of their vision, and the air grew colder. The house was alive with an unsettling energy. They whispered to each other, sticking close together as they explored the haunted house. Every creak and groan of the old building set their nerves on edge. In one of the rooms, they discovered an old, dusty object that seemed out of place. It was a reminder of the house's long and mysterious history. Despite their fear, there was a sense of excitement and adventure. They were determined to uncover the truth behind the legends of Whispering Pines. With a mix of fear and determination, they continued to explore the house, ready to face whatever came next. The night was just beginning, and the true test of their courage was yet to come. The old house was even more unsettling from the inside. The walls seemed to close in, the shadows lengthening and deepening with every step they took. Dust lay thick on every surface, a testament to the years of neglect and abandonment. It was as if time itself had forgotten this place. Cobwebs clung to the shadows in every corner, their delicate threads shimmering eerily in the dim light. They seemed to whisper secrets of the past, tales of those who had once walked these halls. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of decay and something else, something indefinable but undeniably unnerving. It was a scent that spoke of forgotten memories and lingering spirits. As they explored, each creaking floorboard echoed like a ghostly footstep, a reminder of the house's age and the countless stories it held within its walls. Each rustle of wind through the gaps in the boarded windows sounded like a distant whisper, a voice from the past trying to make itself heard. These sounds sent shivers down their spines, a cold reminder that they were not alone in this place. The house seemed to be alive, watching their every move. They chose rooms on the upper floor, hoping to distance themselves from the oppressive atmosphere that seemed to cling to the lower levels of the house. But sleep proved elusive. The weight of the house's history pressed down on them, making it hard to breathe, let alone rest. The silence of the old house was deceptive, a quiet that was filled with the echoes of the past. It was a silence that seemed to listen, to wait. This silence was broken by the occasional creak or groan of the settling structure, sounds that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. It was the whispers that started as the hours crawled by that truly frayed their nerves. These whispers were soft, almost indistinct, but they carried a weight that was impossible to ignore. Soft, indistinct murmurs seemed to emanate from the walls themselves, just on the edge of hearing. They were like the voices of the house's former inhabitants, trying to communicate from beyond the grave. Each of them heard it, though no one wanted to be the first to acknowledge the chilling sounds. They exchanged nervous glances, each hoping the other would dismiss it as a trick of the mind. Then there were shadows, fleeting glimpses of movement at the edge of their vision. These shadows seemed to dance just out of sight, always there but never fully seen. Were they tricks of the mind, fueled by exhaustion and the house's sinister reputation? Or were they something more, something that defied explanation? Or was something truly watching them from the darkness? The feeling of being observed was palpable, a constant presence that made their skin crawl. Mike, ever the skeptic, tried to rationalize the events. He spoke of logical explanations, of the mind playing tricks in the dark. Old houses settled, he argued. The creaks and groans were just the natural sounds of an aging structure. Drafts played tricks on the mind, creating illusions of movement and sound, but even he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Something was very wrong. The unease was too deep, too pervasive to be dismissed so easily. As the first night in Whispering Pines wore on, the weight of their surroundings pressed down on them, amplifying their fear with each passing hour. The house seemed to breathe with them, its presence growing stronger as the night deepened. Sleep, when it finally came, was filled with unsettling dreams and a pervasive sense of dread. Their dreams were haunted by the house, its whispers and shadows following them even into their subconscious. The line between reality and nightmare blurred, leaving them to wonder if they would ever truly escape the grip of Whispering Pines. The next morning, Sarah found herself drawn to the grand library. The building stood as a monument to a bygone era, its towering shelves and intricate woodwork, whispering tales of knowledge and mystery. The air was thick with the scent of aged paper and polished wood, a stark contrast to the modern world outside. Most of the bookshelves lay bare, their contents long since rotted or stolen. The once vibrant collection had been reduced to a skeletal remnant of its former glory, a silent testament to the passage of time and neglect. But one bookcase, tucked away in the shadows of a far corner, remained intact. It stood like a sentinel, guarding secrets that had been forgotten by the world. Its shelves were filled with leather-bound volumes, their titles hinting at forbidden knowledge and ancient rituals. The spines of the books were cracked and worn, yet they exuded an aura of power and mystery. As she reached for one of the books, she noticed something odd. The air around the bookcase seemed to hum with a faint energy, as if the books themselves were alive with secrets waiting to be uncovered. The bookcase seemed to shift slightly, revealing a faint outline behind it. It was as if the library itself was guiding her towards a hidden truth. With Mike's help, Sarah moved the heavy bookcase aside, revealing a narrow doorway hidden behind it. The doorway was ancient, its edges worn smooth by countless hands over the years. A wave of cold air, stale and heavy, washed over them as they peered into the darkness beyond. The air was thick with the scent of forgotten memories and untold stories. Armed with flashlights, they cautiously stepped inside. The beams of light cut through the darkness, revealing glimpses of a world that had been hidden for decades. The hidden room was small, sparsely furnished with a writing desk and a single chair. The desk was covered in a thick layer of dust, as if it had not been touched in years. The air hung heavy with the scent of decay and something acrid, like burnt herbs. It was a smell that spoke of rituals and sacrifices, of dark deeds done in the name of knowledge. But it was the journals, stacked neatly on the desk, that drew their attention. Each journal was a portal into the mind of its author, a glimpse into a world of obsession and madness. The journals belonged to Thomas Blackwood. His name was inscribed on the cover of each one, a mark of ownership and pride. His elegant script, penned in faded ink, spoke of his growing obsession with the occult, with unlocking the secrets of life and death. The words seemed to pulse with a life of their own, drawing Sarah and Mike deeper into Blackwood's world. As they turned the brittle pages, a sense of unease settled upon them. The journals were filled with detailed accounts of rituals and experiments, each more disturbing than the last. Blackwood's writings were more than the ramblings of a bored scholar. They were the desperate pleas of a man slowly losing his grip on sanity. His words were a window into a mind unraveling under the weight of its own obsessions. They were the desperate pleas of a man slowly losing his grip on sanity. His descent into madness was chronicled in painstaking detail, each entry a step further into the abyss. The journals hinted at dark rituals, at sacrifices made in the pursuit of forbidden knowledge. Blackwood had crossed lines that should never be crossed, and his writings were a testament to the price he had paid. Sarah and Mike exchanged a worried look. The implications of Blackwood's writings were clear, and they knew that they were standing on the edge of something far greater than themselves. What had Blackwood unleashed within the walls of Whispering Pines? The house seemed to pulse with a dark energy, as if it were alive with the spirits of those who had been sacrificed in its halls. And could they escape the darkness he had invited in? The question hung heavy in the air, a reminder of the dangers that lay ahead. As they left the hidden room, they knew that their journey was far from over. The secrets of Whispering Pines were still waiting to be uncovered, and the darkness that Blackwood had unleashed was still lurking in the shadows.